guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about 18 movies today, and this video kind of came from a trend that I saw over on Twitter where people were putting the 10 movies to get to know them, and I decided to switch it up. Since I turned 18 this week on July 1st, I thought it would be really fun to do 18 movies to get to know me. These are movies that are more personal to me, and if I were to meet somebody, I would show them these movies and definitely recommend them. And I'm not going to really be talking about the movie exactly and my thoughts on it, but more why I believe it says something about me. And I hope you guys join me down in the comments and let me know some movies that to get to know you. The first movie that I want to talk about is Tangled, and I love this thing. I'm currently drawing a scene of Tangled, one of my favorite ones that isn't like the lantern scene with Flynn and Rapunzel, and this movie is just so special to me. I remember this movie came out when I was like in 3rd grade, and although I didn't get to see it at the movie theater because back then when I was younger I didn't really go to the movies that often. My first movie was like the Smurfs or something. I know, not really exciting, but I just really love this movie, and not just because Rapunzel is an artist and I relate in that way, but she's my favorite princess and she's just so bubbly and cute, and I love her personality, and I also really like Flynn Rider. I'm just always talking about this movie. This is definitely one that I always gravitate towards, and whenever I don't have anything to watch and I'm in the mood for Disney, I just put the DVD in for this one because it's so perfect and beautiful to me, and I will never ever get sick and tired of it. The second movie I want to talk about is Finding Nemo. And the reason why I put Finding Nemo on this list is because this is a movie that I constantly watched as a child, and I feel like every little kid has a movie that they just don't stop watching. Like, it ends and you just put it back on, and according to my mom and my dad, this was that movie, and I love this movie. I think it's super cute. I remember when Finding Dory came out, I was so excited because Finding Nemo was so special to me, and I love the message of this movie, and it just reminds me of my childhood because I was really obsessed with this movie, and honestly for good reasons. Younger me had pretty good taste. Number 3 is Moulin Rouge. I actually just recently saw this movie, so I feel like all of the movies on this list I saw a while back, or not that recently, but this is, I think, yeah, the most recent one. And oh my god, this movie is so good. The reason I put this here is because 1, everybody should watch this movie, and 2, me and my sister don't shut up about singing the songs. Like, we just constantly sing and sing, and it was so good. And Baz Luhrmann is such a good director, and I love his movies so much. I'm a huge fan of The Great Gatsby, Romeo and Juliet, this one obviously. It's just so, like, it brings me so much happiness, even though the movie is actually kind of depressing. But I just really love this movie, and it reminds me of me and my sister, like, so much. For number 4, I'm gonna say Forrest Gump, and this movie just brings me so much happiness. When I saw this movie, I was delighted like the entire time and amazed like at every single scene, and I love this movie so much, and it's so simple yet so effective in my opinion, and I love the character of Forrest, and I love the message of this movie, and this is again another movie that I'll never get tired of. And anytime anybody asks me like, oh, what's a movie that you really love, what's your favorite movie, I will for sure say Forrest Gump because it's just so pure and I love it so much, and the message is so important, and I love Forrest as a character, and I love what they did with him, and I'm honestly speechless. I don't even have many words to describe how much I love this movie and how much it means to me. I actually recently, well, not recently, before quarantine and Corona happened, I went to Bubblegum Shrimp for the first time, and it made me so happy because I felt like I was inside the universe of Forrest Gump. Number 5 is The Hunger Games, but specifically Catching Fire. And I always say Catching Fire because it's my favorite book and my favorite movie in the franchise, and The Hunger Games is so amazing, and especially during these times that we're going through, I feel like The Hunger Games message is so relevant, and I absolutely adore these books and the movies. I think they did the books justice, and it reminds me, I wanted to put it on this list because it reminds me and my friend when we were really little. I got, like, me and my best friend, we got really close because we had similar interests, as friends do, and we were really obsessed with the Hunger Games and the books and the movies, and like it always made me really happy because I didn't really know anybody that was obsessed with it. I didn't know anybody that liked it as much as I did, and then she did, so it was like really special to me, and I always think of us when I think of the Hunger Games, and it's awesome, and I never get tired of them. I've actually been meaning to reread the books, so I probably will pretty soon. I'm trying to get back to reading again because for a while I didn't really read much, but with this whole quarantine I've been reading a lot more. And The Hunger Games is definitely a book that I would love to read. But Catching Fire is my favorite movie. Anytime that I want to watch it, but I don't want to be sad or anything, because I feel like the other ones are a little bit more sad, kind of. I always put Catching Fire on, and I love it so much. And actually, wait, I want to show you guys this because I got this when the last movie came out, and it's super cool. I believe it's from Target, and then like on the back it's like this. It's so epic, and I love PETA in Catching Fire, and Finnick is my favorite character, and he was introduced in Catching Fire, and yeah, I love these discs. I'll never ever get tired of these movies, and they're really special to me, and it's like, it was my start to reading dystopian books and all that. I had a really big era where that's all I would read. I think I read all the like the, I guess you could say, the popular ones, because I was so obsessed with them. The next movie I want to talk about is Indiana Jones. I could not have made this list without putting Indiana Jones in here. This is one of my favorite movies ever, and I will never get tired of watching it. I know I keep saying for all of these movies, but I think that's what makes them stand out. And the reason why this movie is, I feel like you will get to know me, is because I love adventures and I love adventure movies so much. It's such a like fun genre, and I like, it's just so fun because it's like such a cool way to get out of the world and get a bit of drama, a bit of crime, but without it being like super depressing and sad. Wait, that's the same word. I just love adventure movies, and Indiana Jones is one of the best. I love Indiana Jones so much. It's one of those movies that I wish if I could go back in time and watch it in theaters, I definitely would, because it's so mind-blowing to me. Every single shot is so well done, and Steven Spielberg did such a good job with that character and the franchise, except the fourth one, but Indiana Jones is the best, and I want you guys to see it. So it's like a little booklet, and it's super cute. Hopefully one day I have a DVD or a Blu-ray of every single one of these movies that I talk about. I have plenty so far, but it's super cool. I just love Indiana Jones. Also, I used to play on the Nintendo an Indiana Jones game with my sister, and I've always loved this movie, and I always used to want to be an Indiana Jones, like just go on adventures and be an archaeologist. That would be so epic. The next movie I'm going to talk about is Bohemian Rhapsody. This movie got a bunch of hate from the critics, and I still don't really understand why, because to me it was as the best it could have been, and I really liked it. I always want to talk about this movie to people because Queen is one of my favorite bands, and I'm a huge fan of old music, especially from the 70s and the 80s. I'm constantly listening to music there from that era, and I just wish I could have gone to Live Aid or seen Queen live. I still actually do want to when they go on tour with Adam Lambert, because I still think they're pretty cool and it would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I think this movie is really good, and I was really happy it was made, and me and my dad had a blast watching this at the movie theater, and my sister and my mom, and it's just like a really good movie for me. And like, this movie is, I don't know, it's like very inspiring in a way, and I love the music and listening to it, and I think they told his story as best as they could, and I loved it very much. Number 8 is Phantom of the Opera. It's so fun to me. Me and my sister are again always singing the songs, and it's just so good, guys. Like, I love the story of the Phantom of the Opera. I remember when I first saw it, it was a while back with my mom, my dad, and my sister, and I always assumed the Phantom of the Opera would be scary, and I'm a huge fan of like horror stuff, so I always thought it would be like graphic or whatever, and it wasn't at all. I mean, he's creepy, but it wasn't graphic, and I fell in love when I saw that movie. It's so good, and I love the way it's made. I don't think it has like a lot of critical acclaim or Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't care. I think it's so fun to watch, and it's really long. It's almost like 3 hours, but I don't care. It's one of the few movies that I will just constantly watch, and I don't mind. Like, I don't get bored of that movie at all, and I love it. If you haven't seen it, you guys definitely should. It was on Netflix for a while, and that's where I would see it, but you guys need to watch this movie. It's so good, guys. Number 9, I definitely have to talk about The Shining. If you guys know from my top 13 horror movies of all time, this is my favorite horror movie, and this is it, guys. Like, to get to know me, this is my movie. I'm always talking about it and how good it is and how mind-blowing it is. There are very, very few movies, like I've said, that I think are perfect, and this is one of them. I think Stanley Kubrick did an awesome job, and Stephen King for writing it, even though I've heard that it's not really the same as the book. I actually have been wanting to read the book for a really long time. But The Shining is just very good to me, and it's a type of movie that I would like to do in the future when I make movies. When I make movies, especially horror movies, psychological horror is my favorite type of horror, and the way they did it in this movie is so fascinating to me, and the story is on point, and it's more than just a horror movie. It's very deep, and you get to really understand the characters, and that's why I think it's so awesome. So definitely this is like my movie. Like, I will never shut up about this movie, and I will never get tired of talking too much about it. And number 10, since we're continuing with the horror category, is The Conjuring. This is again another horror movie that I would like. Some of these movies are movies that I myself get inspiration from and would love to make a movie like this in the future. Like, obviously not copy it, but I think James Wan has reinvented horror in the modern day, and he understands what it's like to scare people and not just use silly jump scares, and I appreciate that so much from a filmmaker, because as somebody that loves horror, I like to genuinely be scared, and I like when movies aren't just a cheesy, campy horror movie. Like, they're actually deep and there's characters, and not that there's anything wrong with campy and cheesy horror with jump scares, but it's just not my preference, and I think James Wan is amazing, and he's definitely an inspiration, and this is a movie that is definitely one of my favorites. The next movie I want to talk about is Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back is what I think got me into Star Wars, because when I saw A New Hope, I was into it. I mean, I don't think I would have continued watching it if I didn't like it, but once I saw Empire Strikes Back, I was like, yes, like, this is an amazing franchise, an amazing series, and I kept going, because from the minute this movie started, I already felt like I liked it more than I did of A New Hope, and A New Hope is great, I'm not gonna lie, but Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, and my favorite part about this movie is Han and Leia the entire time, and I'm just a sucker for romance, and this movie has that, and it's just, they're so cute, and I love them so much. Here is Leia. Han is somewhere over there in my other bookshelf, so unfortunately he will not be joining us today, but I have my little Star Wars shrine right here, and Spider-Man, he's not Star Wars, but he likes Star Wars, so it's fine, that's why he's there. But I just love this movie so much, and it's so special to me. Number 12 is Scream. Wes Craven, thank you. I wish I could have met him so bad. Like, I love him so much, and I'm actually in the process right now of watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and like, he was such a he had such a cool mind, and he knew what he was doing with horror movies, and Scream is one of my favorites. This is again a movie that I would love to keep that style going at some point in my life, like that slasher, and it's so fun. I love how they play on the horror genre, and that's my favorite aspect of the movie, and I will never shut up about this movie either. All of these movies, if you know me personally, I'm always talking about them, and this one, I just love Scream. There's actually a review coming very soon. I'm in the process of reviewing and watching all of the Christopher Nolan movies, so those videos are coming really soon, but after, I think I want to review all of the Scream movies, because I'm going to be rewatching them. Number 13 is Mamma Mia. This is a fun movie, and I'm going to just say both of them, but I guess talking more about the first one. This movie is just so fun and amazing. I'm always singing the songs, and back to the soundtrack. I actually watched it really recently, and I'm thinking of reviewing it as well, because it's so special to me, and I remember watching this movie when I was very young, when it, like, around 2009 or there with my aunt, and then I obviously eventually watched it when I got older, and It's so amazing. I love it. It's like, I'm aware it's not a perfect movie, but I don't care because it makes me smile, and I want to live there so bad. I want to just, if I could be in a movie, I would just choose Mamma Mia because it's so beautiful. Number 14 is a movie that is so underrated, and I will never shut up about how good this movie is. Gattaca. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but you definitely should. I saw this movie freshman year of high school, and I'd like to thank my science teacher, Dr. Ware. If you're watching this, Dr. Ware, thank you for your service by showing us this movie. And I saw it again and again and again and again, and I don't get tired of it. It's like horror is my top genre, but sci-fi is like right under horror. And this, when I saw this freshman year, it like, my love for sci-fi exploded. Like, I just couldn't anymore. And this movie is awesome, and I love Jude Law in the movie, and Uma Thurman, Ethan Hawke. Like, the cast is so good, and it is such a well done movie, and the story is so amazing. I really think everybody should check this movie out. Number 15 is Avengers Age of Ultron, and this is by no means my favorite Marvel movie. It's not even my favorite movie from like the Avengers where they're all together, but this movie, I saw it in theaters with my dad, and it was like one of the few times that we went alone to the movie theater, and I always felt cool when I went to the movies without my sister or my mom, because it meant that I was watching like a cool PG-13 movie. And this movie was a lot of fun to watch. I wasn't obsessed with Marvel then. I had seen a few movies, but I always think about how I went to see that in the movies, and it was a lot of fun. And even though I wasn't like into Marvel as much as I am now, it was awesome. And like, I feel like if I hadn't had watched it, I wouldn't have wanted to continue it later on. So I'm really, really happy that my dad decided to take me to see Age of Ultron. Number 16 is Onward. This movie came out really recently. The last movie I saw before everything shut down in the world. And I love this movie. It has a very personal message, and it relates to me. And it's a movie that will always be in my heart. I'm really happy Pixar made it, and the message that it has, I feel like it's very important for kids especially to hear it and know about the struggles that happen in life. And I thought the way they did it was awesome, and just the fact that it was the last movie I saw in theaters and possibly for a while is amazing, and I'm really glad it was that one and not a bad movie. Number 17 is, of course, Harry Potter. How can I make a video about movies to get to know me without talking about Harry Potter, guys? You guys already know I love Harry Potter. Like, there's no denying it. I made a whole video about it. Harry Potter is my life, my entire world. I don't know what I would do without Harry Potter, to be completely honest with you guys. It's something that has been there for me from a very young age, and it has helped me so much with my imagination and my love for magic. And in my world, Hogwarts does exist, and in my world, I'm there all the time because it is such a special place, and I love it. I just love the all of them so much. I'm so thankful for Harry Potter, and it is definitely a huge part of my personality, and you guys need to know that, which you probably already do. Number 18 is a movie that, thanks to my sister, she reminded me of this movie, and this might seem weird, I've never talked about this movie, or I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's The Fugitive. This movie is so good, and Harrison Ford is so good in this movie. I had a phase where I just wanted to watch Harrison Ford movies, and I still want to complete that goal because he has so many movies, and they're all pretty good. And this one is one of his best ones. It's so good. Like, it has drama, crime, mystery. Like, it's everything. It's such a good movie, and it reminds me of me and my sister because, I don't know, a lot of these movies remind me of my sister because me and my sister have fun watching this movie, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
She even saw it when we were on our way to London. She saw it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she saw it, and it's just such a good movie. Like, you guys should watch it if you want to watch a good movie. I watched it on HBO a while back, but this movie is so good, and like, I had to put it because these are also movies that I definitely recommend, and The Fugitive is a huge part of who I am because I'm always thinking about how good that movie is and how underrated it is. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun watching this video. I know I had a lot of fun filming it. Also, I should mention, Hamilton is out today. You guys should definitely go watch it. Honorable mention because Hamilton is a huge part of who I am as a person. So I'm really thrilled to be watching it. Actually today, probably as you're watching this, I already saw it because I love Hamilton. And yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one, so if you stuck all the way to the end, make sure to comment down below any movie to get to know you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. A lot of more videos coming. I have a lot of stuff to film and to edit, and I'm really excited. Thanks again, guys. Bye.